Okay, so in this video, I will explain how the challenge rule works in Scrabble. So the very first thing you need to know is that there are different kinds of challenging rules, but the only rule you need to concern yourself with at the moment is this rule called 5 point challenge. That is the challenge rule we are using in Sri Lanka and in majority of the other countries that are playing Scrabble. So basically what this means is if a challenge is valid, if you win a challenge, like you get 5 points, right? So I will explain that a bit more deeply with an example. So the challenging rule is used now when you're competing in tournaments, when you're playing games, you can't obviously check books. So the players will be playing their own words, and sometimes most of the words that are played can be invalid. So in that instance, you have this option called challenging. So now let's say you're playing a game and your opponent plays a word. And if you're unsure whether that word is actually a word, whether that word exists in the dictionary or not, the very first thing you need to do is you have to wait until your opponent tells the score for the word. If you say challenge before the score is announced, according to Scrabble rules, the player can, like your opponent can take back the word and play something else. So it's very important that you stay patient and you wait for your opponent to firstly announce the score. And so after your opponent announces the score, you have to say hold, right? That is like the keyword to make sure that your opponent can't take tiles from the tile bag. When you say hold, after you say hold, your opponent can't basically touch the tile bag, right? That's how the rule works. So number one, wait for your opponent to announce the score. Number two, say hold, and then you can look at the word and consider whether to challenge it or not. So let's say you challenge the word, then there is a word checker usually in tournaments. You can go to it and check. So we'll go through some example how this works in two scenarios. One scenario when the challenge rule is valid, the word is valid, and one instance when the word is not. So let's just take an example, a simple example. With this style, right, let's say your opponent played the word bakery. So bakery is a valid word, right? But I'm just taking it as an example. Let's say you didn't know what bakery is. You are unsure whether bakery is a word, or maybe you're not sure about the spellings of bakery. So you wait for your opponent to announce the score. In this case, bakery is 36 points. So after your opponent says 36, you have to say hold, and then you are going to say you're going to challenge bakery. You have to specify which word you are challenging, right? So then in tournaments, what happens is there's a word checker right like this. So you go up to it, you press 1 and you type in bakery and you enter the word. So this shows that bakery is a valid word. Now what happens is, since it's a valid word, your opponent wins the challenge. So additionally to these 36 points, your opponent gets an extra 5 points. So for that particular turn, your opponent will get 41 points. That comes 36 from bakery and plus 5 points for the challenge, right? Um, Let's take another instance. Let's say something like this. Your opponent played bakery like this without the E. Now this is a unacceptable word, right? So you can say hold. So wait for your opponent to announce the score. Your opponent will say 34. Then you say hold and then you say challenge this word. You go to the checker, you type in 1, check the word, press enter. So it will show that the word bakery without a E is not valid. Then what happens is your opponent basically loses the turn, right? So he will pass his turn and that turn becomes your turn now. So then you can play your own word. So likewise, there can be instances. Now, let's say you can challenge multiple words. I give like an example. Let's play something like this. War. So war is obviously a word you know, right? And but you're not sure whether WY is a word. So you can actually challenge. You can say if you even if you're not sure of war, you can say challenge war and challenge WY. Then you go to the checker, you type into war and WY. Now war is obviously a valid word, right? But WY is not. So the thing is, when you're challenging two words, the checker won't show which word is valid, which word is invalid, right? So even if one word is incorrect, like in this instance, the word that is incorrect is WY, it will show that the word is unacceptable and your opponent will basically lose the turn. Then it will be your turn, right? Likewise, let's take an example like this. Let's say Wo was played like this for 16, and you are not sure whether BA and AR are valid words. Then what happens is you wait for the opponent to announce the score 16, then you say hold, then you say challenge, and you have to specify which words you're challenging. Let's take as an example, you're going to challenge BA and AR. So you have to say tell that before you go to the checker. You type it. Now both the words are acceptable here. Now in this instance, you challenge two words, right? So when you challenge two words, and if both the words come as correct, your opponent gets 10 points, plus 5 for one word, plus 5 for another. So that's 10 points. And for the 16, in addition to the 16 your opponent is getting from the word wo, he or she gets another extra 10 points, and that will be 26 for the opponent, right? But if one word is incorrect, your opponent loses the turn. So you can challenge up to any amount of words you want at once. The maximum being, I think, 7 words or 8 words. That rarely happens. Mostly it's like 2 word challenges, and in rare cases, 3 word challenges. But that is the process on how the challenging rule works in Scrabble. So once again, to summarize, wait for your opponent to announce the score. After your opponent announces the score, say hold. That makes sure your opponent can't take new tiles from the bag. You can look at the word and consider whether to challenge it or not. Once you challenge it, you go to the checker and check if the word is there.